we need to talk more about the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation, because I've done some more research and I am even more convinced of my stance now. And I've literally had a hunch about this from the beginning, even when the whole discourse of the whole internet was like, Blake Lively is the victim. How did we ever believe Justin Baldoni's smear campaign? I just knew that there was something more to that lawsuit. I didn't understand why people could look at that lawsuit and not consider that, you know, lawyers, part of what they do is spin a narrative. Like, that's why, part of the reason why lawyers exist. We'd like to think that it's all just about looking at the cold hard facts, but we know, like, that's a naive take. We know that lawyers exist to spin the narrative of their defendant or plaintiff. And if you go through Justin's lawsuit, oh my goodness, it has shown very, very clearly how cherry-picked her lawsuit is. And I think what is going to be the smoking gun is the video proof apparently he has for a couple of the items, or at least one, if I remember correctly. And if he has this video evidence that he claims that he has, like, she's absolutely toast. And I would be happy. I would be happy that the truth comes out. But this is the thing. I actually had a feeling that the reason that Justin Baldoni was being isolated and everyone was taking Blake Lively's side is because of the unfair power dynamic. I think that it is so interesting that she spun this narrative as if he had an unfair power dynamic and that he was holding that over her and using that to create this, you know, unsafe work environment and sexually harass her, when that narrative never really fully made sense to me. Because if we think about who has the power in this situation, it has always been Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds. Who is Justin Baldoni in comparison to their level of influence and stardom? And this is what narcissists also love to do. They love to project what they have done and their own flaws onto you. It was actually Blake Lively who body shamed Justin Baldoni. She basically said that his ethnic nose needed a nose job. While when he asked about her weight, he has degenerative discs or bulging discs in his back, and he was just trying to protect himself. And once again, if you saw my last video, there's also a theory that there was chemistry on set. And I think I saw an interview, which I'll maybe go into in another video, that might, if you know, it might be a reach, it might be a stretch, that might actually suggest that that theory could be true, at least in my opinion, the way I read it. But that's another video for another time. And he rejected that, and hell hath no fury like a narcissist scorned. I mean, what would be the better cover-up to your own marriage and to everyone else and to your reputation if you really had an interest in someone and then got rejected by that person when you were considering about stepping out on your own marriage because you were attracted to them? What better cover-up would there be than to accuse that person of being interested in you and sexually harassing you? So the women who just jump onto this bandwagon saying, oh, because she's the woman, she must be the one who is at the unfair disadvantage of a power dynamic because he's a man. Yes, in a lot of situations that can be the case, but in this case, that is not the case. And a lot of people were using the fact that he was being very alienated by the rest of the cast as evidence that he did something wrong. But don't you consider in Hollywood that people always are going to side with the people who have more money and power? I mean, isn't that how Hollywood works? We can think of celebrities as upholding this ideal of the Me Too movement and, you know, alienating abusers. But when has that ever been the case in Hollywood? It is still a system that rewards abusers and basically, you know, bows down to this patriarchal control. I mean, have we learned nothing from Harvey Weinstein? As women, it is important to consider that women can weaponize the patriarchy too, and they can have power that they can use against others too. And even considering her husband, Ryan, like, he's Deadpool. He has a ton of power in Hollywood. And she even put in the text messages that she was going to weaponize that power of Ryan Reynolds and her bestie, Taylor Swift. I mean, the text message about her being Khaleesi and them being her dragons. Oh my goodness. It has the self-awareness of a 12-year-old. To me, it has solidified in my mind, at least, that Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, they're the perpetrators here. They're the narcissists. And I've had a feeling about this for years. Okay, I've as someone who's dealt with narcissistic abuse, and I just have a very, very attuned red flag meter for narcs. Like, I just could tell. And this is the thing. We have to look at this Me Too movement with a little bit of a critical eye, because while it has been incredibly important, a turning point in history to hold abusers accountable, and especially male abusers accountable, we have to consider as women that women can weaponize the patriarchy too. These unfair dynamics of power. And I call it the patriarchy, but I really just mean, you know, situations of unfair power, which is usually includes men being in control. But at this point, if you're a Blake Lively supporter after reading, like, his lawsuit, I mean, granted, keep in mind, his lawyers are also doing their best to defend him as well, and spinning their narrative. We'll see where the truth is, but I have a feeling the truth is going to be much closer to Justin Baldoni's, because, I mean, he's got the receipts, he's got the texts, and apparently he has the video as well.